Pickaxe.
Hi, I'm Pete. I'm an IT manager. Today I want to talk about...
Pete, heads up. We've been hacked.
What happened?
My password is my birthday. Well, everyone knows that. February 14th.
Why would everyone...
I don't get how these people figure this stuff out.
I think I do. Have you ever updated it?
Yes, I changed it to Valentine's Day.
Okay, we're protected with Connection Security Services.
You just gotta be more careful, Pete.
Okay, yep.
For hardware, software, support, and empathy. For Pete's sake, connect with Connection.
Have you saw the change there right at the end?
What was that?
Welcome to the podcast. That was a visual gag that was totally planned. Isaac Donovan, thank you so much for that podcast.
It was chill.
I didn't make that.
It was very chilled out. I liked it.
That was totally Isaac Donovan. Welcome. Did you like that? It's kind of like trip hop.
Is it?
In what?
I don't know. It was chill. It's
not
more like chill
I mean,
hop.
it's trippy.
If you're gonna
Chili.
put any hop at the end of any word there, it was chilly. I'm cold.
Thank you, Isaac Donovan. You are a legend. There is a longer version of that fingle at the end of this podcast. Welcome to the podcast. I, if you do not know, am Chris Trott.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm Ross Hornby.
And my voice is coming out of the mouth of Alex Smith
Oh, wow.
Today. Nice.
today.
You've assumed that form today.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, again, for the 32nd year running, I've decided to go with this one.
Stuck
Fair
with
enough.
it.
And honestly,
Sticking with it.
it's working out. It's all right. Could have gone a lot worse. I wish that, I had an extra vertebrae in my neck, but...
You mentioned that
Can't
a lot.
win 'em
I feel
all.
like it's quite a crutch you lean on. I think you should stop leaning on that crutch.
It bothers me. It bothers me a lot, honestly.
it.
Imagine knowing that there's a segment of your back or your neck that you're never going to be able to twist again. How much that would bother you.
I guess
Like,
would I
would
miss
suck.
it because it never existed? It's like saying,
but just knowing about it, just
imagine
knowing-
not having that
just
third
knowing
arm
that there's a turn,
that
there's
I've
a
never
turn
used
that-
before.
Yeah, but imagine it. But you
would be
could
nice
though.
to
Like,
have.
imagine having an extra joint in your finger that everybody else got to use and you didn't.
Well, like double jointed when people have that extra kind of where they can twist things. I can do it with sort of with my thumb where you flick it up. Look, you see that? Obviously, that's again visual, not ideal for anyone listening. But I'm pushing my thumb up, so it's kind of weird and kind of.
Oh yeah, the ball socket's gone up.
Yeah. But
rather
you can. Yeah, I think that some people can bend their fingers all the way back to their wrist. And to those people, I say, "Gee, see a doctor," because that doesn't seem healthy. It doesn't seem right, does it? But maybe it's fine.
I don't know what you're doing
So you're
there.
saying
that
that
guy
I
who
should
broke
use
his
my
shoulder.
fused vertebrae as a cool trick to show people.
Yeah, like there's
Look how
guys
much
who
I can't turn my neck.
there are people who have broken their arms or something, and they can twist them fully round as some sort of party
that's
trick.
the kind of
but in
stuff
fact, it's just literally
I
a
speed up
horrible
the scroll
injury.
wheel and go past.
Yeah. You don't want to
It's
stick
like,
on that
oh,
for long.
good. You've got that for life. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's pretty disgusting. And I don't know what happens to the veins in that scenario. Are they just twisting around the veins? God, I don't want to even think about it for longer than a second.
don't
But
wanna
maybe
mess with the
I'm still
veins, do
thinking
you?
about it. That actively, I'm still thinking about the arms twisting and the bones maybe
And what's
moving within
going
the
on in
flesh.
there?
What's happening?
Oh,
Don't want to think about
You'd
it
hope
anymore.
it-
It's gone.
oh, yeah. I don't want to think about that. What I do want to think about
Go
though
on.
is what we've been up to and why we haven't done a hat chat in a little bit.
Almost a month, unfortunately.
Almost a month.
Almost,
which is
yeah.
disrespectful to our kind
It's
Patreons.
it's disgusting. We
Yeah.
should. Oh, right, of course. Yeah,
Thank you to them
Yeah,
who are
thanks.
still supporting us.
brilliant.
Thank
you.
Mad people.
Very nice.
Crazy. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, but,
because we're not organised.
We're busy. We've been busy bees doing external work. I mean, it's boring stuff, really. It's not really podcast-worthy content, but
Of course
we've
not.
been busy, which is good for us. And stability of Hat Films are limited.
It's great. It is
But,
good for us. Yeah.
For entertainment purposes and streaming.
Yes.
No,
It's like a shareholder.
Yes, we're having a great time. Yes, it's great fun. Actually, what about the peasants below us, though? What about those guys? Well, of course, we feel very sad and upset about
the
that.
company will continue to operate for the following few years.
Yes, brilliant.
We'll be looking to
Expand, perhaps.
use the retirement fund of our members to expand rapidly and dangerously.
No, But we're back now. We're back again. So they have to listen to us again. If anything, it's a bad thing for them.
Had some new interns telling us that they did a report and they're saying we're detached from our audience. We're becoming more and more detached.
Now they're detached from an income.
Good one. Anyway, back to the expansion. But yeah, we've been busy.
This is port, by the way.
It's port. He's drinking port. He's glugging it down.
Of course it is.
It's not port. It's not drinking.
What's been going on in the world in the past month?
The world?
I feel like the world... Yeah.
That's broad, isn't it? That's too broad.
That's
horrible things have been happening. Too many horrible things.
Variables.
Things that we just don't know enough about to even touch or tickle, so to speak. Because you're likely to offend one side or the other in quite extreme ways. And that's not us. We're not about that here. We're about laughter and wholesomeness and joking about our penises more often than not, which does happen still 10 years on.
Well, you got some funny news, haven't you, Ross?
I've been...
I was saying before we started the podcast today, I was saying that we should... Ross said he had some funny news he found, and Trot was hilarious. Like, "Oh, classic! We've got some funny news." And I was like, "Well, maybe we should do the thing that Ross has sometimes done, where Ross almost has to defend the news from me and Trot, where we're like, so why did they do that?" And he's like, "I don't know. Maybe they had a bad day." But that's what I think we should try and focus on. Ross is kind of like the advocate for whatever's going on in these things, or he believes that these things have happened.
Well, we need to it's more of a case of people, they pass judgment on what they find funny, and whether I find some of them aren't necessarily funny, but they're weird or strange or just interesting and create talking points.
You follow a strict regime of finding this news of only looking at the title and then quickly pasting that link without reading the contents.
Yeah,
that's
ultimately man makes love to seagull under blood moon, or something like that. And you're just
or
like, what happened there?
Exactly. Men arrested for cottaging in random field because of coronavirus. Things like that, which have come up in the past.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Toilet seats to weigh you. Interesting. I'm like, wow. Okay, let's see if that works.
Cottaging's still illegal as well, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Of coronavirus. Yeah, you can't just go to a public toilet, Ross, and have sex with people.
Right. Why not, though? Because it's a public toilet, that's it. That's the main reason, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a public space.
You can transfer numbers, though, and then meet up somewhere else? It's the only...
Well, yeah, you could.
That's why you put them on the...
It's the partaking of sex in public. That's the bad bit.
Well, I mean, even that, I don't know if it's in itself illegal. It's more the fact that, like, you are... causing a public nuisance or indecent exposure.
But if no one sees it,
if there are any kids around as well, you're in big trouble because things start getting. Exposing yourself to kids is another.
Of course,
thing
that's
just
terrible.
Don't do it.
No, of course. Well, I mean, bear in mind, I'm not the one inside the stories. These are stories I found. Right, okay. You're saying it like I have control over this scenario.
But you fully support most of them. I don't
support their decisions. It's a funny story. It's but I can find one now. Let's just find one now. This one,
sure.
Again, not hilarious, but an interesting one. Yeah. And the headline simply reads: Italian woman accidentally given 6 shots of COVID-19 vaccine. Very simple, straightforward. 6 shots of it. Now what would you expect would happen to someone who has received 6 shots of the COVID-19 vaccine?
You've called this shots. Shots.
Yeah, I did call it that. I put my own headlines sometimes in the notes. I mean, because it reminds me. It's funny. That's funny.
I mean, if she doesn't get blood clots, it's a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
let's be honest.
I mean, that's a good test.
Well, for one, she got the Pfizer. No. She got the Pfizer one, which I don't know if that one's specifically linked to the blood clot things.
Did she get all of them?
None of them.
She got
the whole blood clot
a vial of it, apparently. The entire vial, which is 6 doses.
Yeah.
And they only noticed when they saw 5 empty syringes on the table next to them.
Vial.
Yeah.
But I imagine they probably feel a bit more rough because they've got a bit of a heftier shot. So I imagine they might feel a bit more rough. But I don't think there'll be anything particularly wrong with that.
Well, they kept her.
They'll be all right.
They kept her in for 24 hours to observe whether anything was wrong. And what's good about this story in general is anyone who is worried about the vaccine. This person, 6 doses, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. There's no issues, no recorded issues.
Yeah, but now Bill Gates gets 4K.
But now,
doesn't he?
Yeah. He gets 4K.
Now Bill Gates can stream in 4K. He can
stream in 4K.
She is a hell of a beacon for redirecting a signal.
The amount of chips in her arm now. 6. That's a lot of chips.
God.
Yeah. She can receive all the signals.
You can't send a text within 6 feet of her.
She's picking up Sky. She's picking up Sky, that's for sure.
Signal.
She's a walking EMP.
Yeah. But yeah, I just figured that's quite a good thing. Like, if you receive 6 shots, you're not going to die. Nothing bad's going to happen. You might have a little cough for 24 hours, but you'll be fine. And that's a good news story. It's an uplifting one.
It's more just it just makes you feel crap,
fluey.
Yeah, that's what everyone seems to be telling me. It's like, it's going to make you feel. You love a sore arm. It's like, yeah, I know, but like, that's better than the alternative. So there you go.
Coronavirus is pretty bad, I heard.
Yeah.
I've heard, somewhere down the line. Now, if you were to stop a rat infestation, what would you do? Simple. What would you do?
I'd call,
you'd call someone.
An infestation
so you're not
company that would deal
I'd get some
with
cats.
Get some pets. Brilliant.
Well, I've always known this is some rural wisdom I picked up along the way, right?
Okay.
If you see mice, that means that there's no rats.
Okay.
If you see rats, it means that there's no cats, right? So mice can't the ecosystems of mice and rats don't interact particularly well. So if you've got mice, it means there aren't many rats around, right?
Okay.
If you've got rats, that means there aren't enough cats around. So I'd bring in the cats, all right? Problem is the cats then...
Top the line.
Yeah, because the rats don't like being around the cats. They can smell the cats, so they'll go off and try and live somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. But then you lose the mice. That's the problem. So you got to take the cats out once the rats are gone. But it's possible.
Well, I mean,
what are the other options?
You want the mice, is what you're suggesting. You want to bring the mice back.
Yeah, mice are actually good to have. Yeah,
right.
So cats aren't indigenous. So, you don't really want that. Cats are responsible for killing like hundreds of millions of wild birds every year. Like, we don't talk about this, but
they drag them in,
cats
don't they?
are like one of the... They're like real bad at destroying like nature and stuff. They're not actually good for England. Anyway, cats... You will. What were we talking about? Mice mean that there are not many cats and not many rats, basically, which is good.
Well, in this instance, the headline reads 1,000 feral cats released onto Chicago streets to tackle rat explosion. So there's been a rat explosion.
How many?
1,000 feral cats.
Oh my god!
There you go.
So they've just got feral cats, 1,000 of them. Yeah. They just released them onto the streets to stop the rat explosion.
Cats.
Yeah. The Windy City is ranked number 1 on pest control company Orkin's list of the rattiest cities in the US for 6 consecutive years. So if you're in Chicago, if you're visiting, maybe watch out for the rats, because it seems like there's a lot of them.
I love how that's on the top of the website.
That's the name of the website. Yeah, God. So they've released a load of feral felines into the area experiencing rat problems. Which I'm assuming they've done some research here. They haven't just gone, wow. They've just done what Smith did, where they were like, well, I would probably get cats, I guess. So I think they've done research. So
100,000.
1,000 cats. God, imagine. So now you're worried about the birds. Surely you're going to be worried about the birds, because that's 1,000 feral cats that might be.
Cities are kind of a corruption of the whole like system, right? Mm-hmm. So these are like meant to be ecological answers to ecological questions. But when you involve a city, because the thing is, right, people bring rats. That's why rats exist in areas because of people. Yeah. So mice exist in areas that are just natural because they're indigenous to the UK and they exist within their old ecosystem. But as soon as human beings come along and then concentrate in population, which is creating a city, that's when rats come, and then that destroys the mice's environment, and then you have to bring in the cats, which shouldn't have been here anyway, but then again, we shouldn't have concentrated. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's hard. Rats also exist in nature, but not necessarily in England or in this particular environment.
With the cats, do we have any details on whether they're still fertile or whether they're just going to keep repopulating, or did they get genetically modified to be like a bit hencher and specifically target certain
strong cats?
Maybe lasers.
What, these
something like that?
feral cats? Yeah, streetwise cats.
Streetwise cats. They've been trained.
Okay. It says here they've, after humanely capturing the feral cats, the Humane Society spays or neuters the animals, places them into residential and commercial settings with rodent infestations to act as an environmentally friendly rodent control.
You got no family.
You're assigned a job, buddy.
That would be such a cool,
cool. It's a rehousing program in a way, right?
Imagine sending like badass stray cats who are kind of probably anamorphic, like anthropomorphized or whatever you call it when you humanoid something.
Right. Yeah.
Like imagine that, like these, like, oh my god, they got like headbands on, and they're like these big jacked furry cats with like chainsaws on their shoulder, and then they go into like a zombie like apocalypse kind of city where there's just all of these rats that they're killing.
Be killed.
Just an apocalyptic environment, filled with rats.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing.
Tribe.
It's like Cats and Dogs, you know that film where they're all like spies and stuff, and they're all like in bins and things. Like, to me, I felt it was a bit of a cheesy film, but that kind of idea, I love those kind of ideas. I think it's why Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles work so well, because you're just like animals doing a thing, and you're like, there's something fun about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Shredder. Was Shredder the rat, or was Shredder the
rat?
No,
he was really cool.
What was the bad guy with the samurai outfit?
Wait, hold on. Shredder the guy.
Shredder was the baddie.
Helmet.
Yeah.
Shredder, this is what I'm confused about. So Shredder was the bad. So what was the name of the rat that was? He was the sensei who taught the turtles how to Splinter.
Yeah. Splinter.
Okay, Splinter. See, Splinter almost sounds like a villain name, doesn't it? Really,
it does.
Really
that's why it's quite confusing.
But Shredder also sounds equally evil.
Yeah, that's a good name for a villain. Shredder.
Shredder. I mean, maybe he's just.
Remember, he had like
a
drill, an underground drill that he drove around in.
I don't remember the show at all. I never watched it.
I don't remember the drill.
Yeah. So there was this drill that Shredder and his two henchmen. One was a rhino.
Oh yes,
maybe both rhinos. Yeah. One was a rhino. One was a hippo, maybe.
Right.
And they travelled around in this drill vehicle that drove that mined around underneath.
Yeah.
Metrodome. What's that?
Was he a full rhino, or was he like half rhino, half human? I can't remember if it was humanoid. Rhino. I remember him being on two legs.
Bebop and Rocksteady, that was it.
Teenage Rhino.
Shredder.
So this is not ideal listening. We're just researching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sorry. I just want to see Shredder.
Who is the Rhino in Ninja Turtles? Real name, Ivan Ilich Sterenko? God, is that right?
Wow.
Or is that Rhino and a Warthog?
Bebop and Rocksteady. Okay. A humanoid rhinoceros.
That's Shredder.
So I think I was on the right lines there. He's humanoid there. Clearly, we've not paid attention to the films they've released. Was Megan Fox in those ones?
Bit of a tangent.
But
yeah, so did the cats get the rats out of the city?
Let's see what the results are. While the cats will hunt and catch rodents on occasion, their presence alone is a deterrent. So I think it's not given any results here. As much of these kind of puff pieces do, they kind of just say they're deterring them with their pheromones, and that's enough to keep the rats away. So, I mean, they seem confident in that statement alone. So, the cat's presence is enough. So they've just been rehoming them around the city or close to those areas, and that smell is making the rats go elsewhere. But where do the rats go? After that, do they just spread out further into
they'll probably go to different areas that maybe they haven't got as much access to food, and then that will passively reduce the population of the rat.
Yes.
Rats.
Right.
I imagine that's how it works. So they will move to other areas where the food is not as plentiful, and then they won't breed as much. Yeah. And then I imagine, the average rat, I think, lives between 3 and 4 years, but in a city, I imagine it's a half or a third of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, obviously, if you're concerned about the rats, maybe there's a rat rehoming program. Can you grab a rat from the street and rehome that? Is that something that you would advise?
I wouldn't.
For people?
I don't think so.
No?
I saw a video the other day of some dude who taught his rats to jump up onto his hands and do spins and stuff and things like that.
Well, rats are good pets, apparently.
They are very good pets. Yeah, it's a shame that they don't live so long, because I think people get quite attached to them and then they just die. Well,
you're fine if you're in Chicago, clearly.
Yeah.
No, there's no
you want a new rat every day.
Yeah.
Kids never knew. I've had this rat for 10 years.
Really? Of course. Yeah.
There you have.
Yeah.
Keeps changing colour.
Don't kiss it. Stop kissing it. Oh, no.
Stop kissing that rat. His fur tastes like kebab.
I can keep it with animal themes here, because I've got another one here, which will be very interesting. Obviously, you can see from the titles here in the doc what it's referring to. Now, there is a mystery here of pigs' orgasms for half an hour, right? So I don't know if you've heard this before.
Right.
Apparently, they can orgasm for half an hour. Now, the reason for that is because they ejaculate half a litre of semen each time.
Holy crap.
If you can't get a reference point of what half a litre is, I know if any Americans listening, they're thinking, God, I can only work in cups.
God. I can only think in cups.
Yeah, I can only think in cups. Half a litre. I mean, I guess that's what, like a bottle of Coke.
That's 2 or 3 cups.
That's a standard bottle of Coke is 500 ml, half a litre.
Almost a litre here.
Right, so if you're watching, and you're watching maybe on the Hat Chat podcast on YouTube, you can see that Trot's holding up a cup there. What's the mil on that one?
2 of these.
2 of those.
This is more than 2 of these.
That's 250 mil, is it?
What?
Oh, no, this is 900.
No, so it's half of that. So it's half of that. No, it's half a litre, so 500 mil.
Half a litre.
Which is, your average Coke bottle should be 500 mil. You should get those glass bottles, which are ridiculously annoying because they're like 280 mil or something, and it's like I paid twice the amount of a normal Coke. Anyway, let's not talk about that. It's all about the pig semen. So, half a litre, which is nuts, and it takes half an hour for them to get that out of them. Which is interesting. So if you have heard that fact before and you didn't know why, that's why. But it's also quite interesting how they collect the semen.
How do they collect it, Ross?
They have a dummy. They have a dummy sow. So they have like it looks like a mounted kind of a hobby horse type thing where basically it can just fuck it for a while for 30 minutes until it just ejaculates into it, and you can't have the mix because obviously
sex doll. That's what you're saying.
It gets a sex doll. It gets its own sex doll, and they come in and start cleaning out the mess, the detritus, and then pump it into some of the other pigs, and that's how it's done. It's very simple, but 30 minutes, that's a long orgasm. And there you go. So
insane.
Just imagine the straining of just
foreplay, or are they just straight into orgasming?
I doubt it. Like animals are a hair trigger. They just are. Like, I've been told this. Like, to make sure
animals are on a hair trigger, man. You got to be careful.
You got to keep an eye.
Like, you can pop that animal off over there, just like this. Watch this. I'll go do it.
You've got to think. If the dog has, like, for example, if the dog has time to even mount another dog, you've got to be on that instantly because he could just pop off straight away. And there are mechanisms in some of these animals which hold them in. So you've got to think about these things. You've got to kind of, be careful because
these animals
hair trigger.
Like, what sort of a selection are you having to do where you're like in some of these? What sort of animals should we be aware of that do that? What's your knowledge of
cats have barbed
animals
penises?
Like?
Is it cats?
I don't think so.
Ducks have barbed penises. They've corkscrew
are they barbed,
penises.
Or are they just spirally?
They're curved, actually. Yeah.
Are they curved?
Not all of
I don't want to Google it.
A clean curve? I mean, corkscrew penises. I mean,
a corkscrew, yeah.
But you've got to watch them because they'll jizz quickly. But it's a 30-minute process, so maybe I feel like surely just a splash would be enough. But clearly, they can get a lot out of it. I don't know how much a horse produces. Do you think a horse produces more or less than a pig? Okay.
A horse poos?
No. Not poo. We're going with semen here. Semen today is the topic. Amount of horse.
Keep it on brand.
Horse semen per go? God, what? Okay, how much semen
per load?
Oh, brilliant! I found a place where it's measuring it in cups.
There's so many other words.
So the variables range from a quarter cup up to most likely 1 cup, with half cup being the most average. What is half a cup?
I think that's less than the pig.
Half a cup in grams is 64 grams. Pathetic.
Yeah, nothing.
Pathetic.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Efficient.
So that's like a tenth.
Still.
That a horse does a tenth of what a pig does.
Yeah. Average human semen. That would be.
Well, that's not making me feel inadequate here.
A go?
Between 1.5 and 6.8 mil. That's pathetic, isn't it? That's useless. Although it does a lot. I mean, again, all it needs is a little splash.
500th. Was that like a 500th of a pig?
Something like that, yeah. But also, it's a fraction of the time. Would you rather be the pig?
Well, speak for some, Ross.
What if
I'm happy with how it all
works.
Pure, just uncontrollable jizzing for an hour.
I thought you were going to say pigs are like orgasm for 30 minutes, and I was like, maybe they've worked out how to like tantrically do it. You know how like there's like a lot of theories behind, not theories. I don't know what you want to call it. Right. I guess theories methodology and ideas behind like how to extend orgasms and things like that.
Yeah.
And like tantric stuff is obviously very famously touted as an option. But I was just thinking maybe the pigs, like they don't do much. They're smart animals. They don't do much all day. All they do is snuffle around in the mud and sleep. Like they have a lot of time to think. And maybe internally, like externally, a pig looks like a very simple creature.
Yeah.
But internally, the pig is like studying tantric sex in its mind. You know, like
I think
I can extend it.
I don't know.
Walking along like, okay, I've been.
Are you giving?
I've been snuffling around all day, and then you just sort of get back to I'm going to think about tantric sex now. And they just inside they've unlocked the secrets to just to the orgasm. They have complete conscious control over their orgasm mechanisms. That's what crossed my mind when you first asked.
Do you think is this why farmers kill them so freely? Because they're just jealous. They're just annoyed and jealous.
Feel really,
like, kill him.
I really try not to eat pork, and I haven't eaten pork in fucking ages, probably about a year now.
Beautiful. It's really nice.
I mean, it's delicious. It's delicious. Like, don't get me wrong, it's delicious.
Why are they so tasty?
It's a delicious meat.
I know.
But
do you reckon
I feel
they had a
terrible
30-minute
about
orgasm
killing
before they
pigs
died?
because
I'd like to think
they are so smart. Like they are. I don't really give a shit about cows. I've lived around. Like I've been in cows. Been to dairy farms. Cows are pretty stupid animals. Pigs, like you can see the intelligence.
That's the line,
smart,
is it?
That's
smart
it.
creatures.
Yeah, that's it. The stupidity.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we should all do that. How often do you go up to animals and go, "Hey, I eat one of you like all the time. Like this is what you look like." Like,
they're not in my area.
It's not. I don't think it's wrong to be connected with like the animals you're eating and like looking at what you're.
You're right.
But I think a pig is stupid enough to eat himself.
Yeah.
If you ended up like cooking a piece of meat and feeding it to him, they would
pigs
eat it.
would eat
Themselves.
themselves.
That is pretty stupid.
Pigs regularly eat meat.
Kill this one.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Dumb.
There's an interesting comment on this article here. Someone's explained some stuff here, saying first off, the pig produces a lot of semen, up to half a litre. There's a 4-stage way it all happens. Basically, there's a cleaning burst to try and clear bacteria and other bullshit out of the boar's penis. Then 3 other different bursts that have various ratios of sperm and other seminal fluids. And he said the best analogy is just to try to imagine you've been edging for a week and then you finally get to jizz. That's just how the boar and pig rolls naturally, times 100. So they're edging all the time.
Thanks for that description that they just said.
And there you go.
Okay, yeah, so you're struggling to. I see you're struggling to imagine 500 millilitres of semen. Right, well, let me frame it for you better.
Let's get the milk.
Imagine you've been baking a cake all week. You've been.
One burst. This first burst is just a bacterial clean. There you go. Look at that. He's clean. He's ready to go. Now the next burst. Oh, that's all fresh bits of sperm and seminal fluids. That's all there. About 300, 400 mil of that. Perfect.
We can get this more accurate. I'm going to need half a pint of skimmed, and then we're going to need some whole milk, and then give me some clotted.
Can humans have a 30-minute orgasm?
Yeah.
No, I'm disagreeing with that one. I don't think.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm
not saying that I've experienced it or induced it, just to be clear.
I've got a list here, Ross, of the longest recorded orgasms, according to therichest.com. When it comes to the topic of sex, a few of us might feel a little awkward. Let's get the giggles out of the way now, though, because we're about to launch into a pretty frank discussion.
Sorry, they said get them out of the way. Get them out of the way. Get them out of the way now, quickly.
So the fourth in the world was 43 seconds in 1966. William H. Masters and Virginia E. Johnson were the leading research team, and from the youngest person to give birth to the fastest orgasms, they did studies on. They were ready to record all of it, which is a bit fucking odd. I'll be honest. They dedicated their lives to finding like how young we give. Let's record everything. Let's go find.
So they just hand him a stopwatch. Are they handing him a stopwatch for that scenario? Just go. And then
again, you can do longer. Come on,
6 seconds. God, I can do better than that.
It really ups to in the third place, 83 minutes.
Holy shit!
What British woman Anne has an orgasm about every 5 minutes, which averages about 250 a day.
Oh my god!
They're all shared with the media.
Wait! They're separate orgasms.
But hold on. I guess, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm a stickler for my orgasms.
Those are separate orgasms, technically.
Are there breaks
Any
between
vibration sets
Ross
are
is
off.
there with a clipboard, the Guinness Book of Records blazer on.
If they even stop for a second, that's one.
She's diagnosed with PGAD.
Yeah.
God.
Permanent sexual arousal disorder.
I see. I think I've seen this on one of those horrible morning shows.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, and this morning.
Yeah, so her longest recorded orgasm, this is not those separate events. This is like a chain reaction.
Right.
83 minutes. Oh. Apparently,
that sounds painful,
very painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fourth. That's third place.
That's third.
Yeah. What's the next ones?
2 hours.
Oh my God. Okay. This is human recorded, yeah?
There's a video on YouTube.
Oh, you got the video? Wow.
No, I don't have it, but it starts with that. There's a video of herself on YouTube twitching uncontrollably while in hospital, which is recorded by her husband, who was probably feeling a bit proud of himself. Why do they put that in brackets?
Proud?
Why did they say that?
Why was he
probably feeling a bit proud of himself?
I think this is a genuine medical condition. No wonder they told us not to laugh at the beginning. That sounds painful. 2 hours.
Well, they can't go and make a shit joke like that.
I know.
But he was proud of it.
Was it on?
For God's sake.
Mirror? Metro?
No, this is therichest.com, which I've not covered.
Exactly. Never heard of it. Of course it is. There you go. Puff piece.
After having sex with her husband, this anonymous bride found that she was still enjoying the benefits of the intercourse until she realised it wasn't going away after 10 minutes. The young couple began to panic and went to the nearest hospital. Doctors and medical personnel were baffled at what exactly was going on with her.
The amount of baffling that goes on in hospitals.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. They're always baffled. They are always... That's it. It comes in... Nope, that's it. I'm baffled, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm going to be out of action this weekend. I've been baffled.
Yeah, they're always scratching. They've all got ball patches and scratching their heads. I don't know what's going on.
To stop the wild 2-hour orgasm, that her husband was really smug at this point.
Super smug. Just walking around the office with his hands on his hips, just beaming at people.
Don't know what I did.
Don't know what I did. You hear that?
You're going to ask
me? That was me.
I just did my usual.
That was me.
Valium, apparently. Tons of Valium is what calmed the whole thing down.
I was going to suggest ice packs.
Were you?
Yeah, because that would immediately
probably help.
That would immediately kind of quell my mood. If you were jizzing for longer than 43 seconds, what was the average? 45. I think ice pack might be the first port of call at home, and then it's called the docs. These are all women, right? In the top.
Well, and yes, an ice pack will not help. Place number 2 at a staggering 3 hours.
Wait, that's number 2?
This is number 2.
Oh, right, okay. Wow.
Featured on the TLC show Sex Sent Me to ER, the Seattle-based couple, only known as Liz and Eric, were getting a little frisky before they started their day going to work. But an hour after the encounter was over,
pre-work,
Liz found that she was still having an orgasm.
Interesting work day.
She tried different ways to relieve the sensation, from jumping up and down to drinking wine. After 2 hours, the couple had no choice but to make
wine. It's 8 a.m. and this person's just quick. I know what'll improve this situation. What's that? I should drink a glass of wine.
Yeah.
At 8 a.m., you're having a constant orgasm. You may have to drive yourself to hospital.
I'd like to think I imagine she spilled a bit. You know, I mean, if you're shuddering around.
I imagine so. So apparently it took them 2 hours to say, we should probably go to ER. At what point, apparently she was experiencing judgmental looks and nosy comments.
Of course, yeah. Dirty pervert.
Why do they need to embellish it with that stuff?
Take it home.
She finally got a room. She was treated with an antihistamine. Still continued to experience roughly 12 orgasms a day.
Oh my God. What? Wow, 12. Have you ever reached 12? I don't think I've hit 12. That's quite the record.
Apparently that antidepressant medication that she was on triggered a bout of PGAD.
There you go. There it is again. Yeah.
Antidepressant medication caused it. Holy crap.
Oh my God. Do you know which kind? Just in case people are cured it. Watching at home?
It doesn't say.
Keep some antihistamine ready if you're on any.
Again, the focus is on the snide, nosy comments or the staggering amount of time and how proud the husband is.
Of course.
Is what the focus is of this journalism.
So I had to get the bus to the hospital, and I was just slipping off of it.
Yeah. He's like, that's me. That's my doing that.
And somebody's reading this like,
smugly.
Oh, nice, yeah. Ooh,
just smugly
nice.
winking at strangers, say, yeah, that's me. Yeah.
My nipples were rock hard the entire way to the hospital. Oh, nice. Onlookers gaped and stared. Whoa, I bet they were having an eyeful. Like, what are people
Hands out your
reading this
pockets.
for?
Hands
Is
out
it
your
that?
pockets. Come on, she's my wife. Come on.
Like,
Are we ready for number one?
Okay, give us number one.
It's
going to be like, hold on, before you say this, it's going to be some stupid thing like, technically this person's been having one orgasm for 15 years. And it's like
it's
some
not
condition.
That crazy.
No,
I wish.
okay, right, go on. Go for it.
Drum roll, please.
I just think it's going to be a technicality, is what I think it's going to be.
8 hours.
8 hours.
There
That's
she is.
A working day. Just.
Rachel experiences an orgasm every 30 seconds in her daily life. And she was on the documentary 100 Orgasms a Day. She explains another PGAD. So her husband John has expressed that having a wife with PGAD isn't as fun as you'd assume.
Oh, there we go.
No fucking shit.
Nice, yeah.
No
some realism there.
In fact, the disorder's created problems. Rachel's had to learn how to control her orgasms and constantly aware of her surroundings. She can't go near a washing machine.
What? What was that about washing machine? She can't go near them.
You can't go near it. Bam.
It's just PTSD.
I'm sorry, it's probably really debilitating.
Of course, 8 hours. You're not getting any work done in 8 hours with that happening.
No.
It's not.
It's just so strange that when like serious medical conditions can be like aggravated by such mundane things like a washing machine. You're like, what?
I know.
Is she just looking at the washing machine?
Oh, it's the vibrations.
Right, of course. But does she have to put her hands on it?
Reaction.
Is it like is she sat on it? Like, what is
the thing is though, like the vibrations, I've not come across a washing machine recently that I've thought the vibrations on this would be excellent for masturbation, like, you know, male or female. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because it depends what you put in it, right? If
they
you put
just don't
heavy...
produce a very good vibration. Like, yeah, exactly. Either it's like a
candy dishwasher and
you know,
washing
when you
machine.
put a couple of wellies in the washing machine, you know, like dung dung as they're going round.
Put some boots in there.
That's not going to be satisfying. That's not going to be satisfying
house brick?
either. Like.
Yeah, you've clearly not put a load of towels in your washing machine because
it does,
you can get some good shit out of that.
Really?
Also, my 10-year-old Candy washing machine, which has a small drum, that rocks the whole house.
Oh, really? Wow.
It is not secured very well.
You sit down in the living room and just feel the vibrations coming to the arms of the sofa.
We settle down at the dining table with cutlery and everything placed, and everything starts shaking violently off the table.
I hope you got the next 8 hours, Claire. Oh, God.
This is a long cycle with an extra rinse. Jesus.
Does she have to check for washing machines when she walks into other people's homes? Is your washing machine on?
Have you put a cycle
on?
Oh,
I've just put it on. Sorry, I'll come around tomorrow.
Christ. Imagine that. 8 hours.
That's too long.
30 seconds.
But I mean,
I'll be around later then, Trot. Try it out.
And on that list, Trot, are there any males on that list? Is there what's the next? So that's okay. Well, what's the?
I mean,
maybe
of course.
Google. How about one of you Google longest male orgasm?
Well, yeah, that's simply.
I'll destroy
the request there.
Male orgasm.
That's what Ross wants to find out.
I was curious more so in terms of like obviously 500 mils a lot, and does the orgasm mean that you're also constantly producing fluid and pumping it out like a fire hose?
Yeah,
sputtering fire hose. Sprinklers on full.
I'll be honest, guys. It's hard not to find a website that
isn't pornographic.
That's a porn.
Of course. I mean, we're looking for science facts here. This is science. If you're listening to this now, you're learning things about orgasms.
Instead, because it's hard to find.
We could just move on.
We could move on to the next story. But what it's reminded me of is the person who had hiccups for a really long time. Now, how long do you think that would be? What's the longest you think someone's ever had hiccups? Yeah.
2 years.
Okay, 2 years. That's one answer from Alex Smith there. Trot.
What do you think happens after 2 years? I think like any time after like a month is like this is for life now.
No,
like
this is it.
That's
this
just an ongoing issue.
Yeah, some people have it for a very long time. Yeah. What would you say?
The guy that hiccuped on The Simpsons, and in between is kill me. Kill me. Sometimes
as
I
depressing
feel
as
like
that sounds,
that
is the case for some people. Yeah. What do you think then, Trot? So name a time scale.
I reckon like 4 days, something like that.
4 days.
Maybe a week.
That's fantastic.
7 days.
7 days. If anything, that's a pleasure cruise of hiccups for this person who literally endured.
That's a nice break.
Are you ready for this?
That's a nice break for them.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
68 years.
So
it's the longest.
Lifelong.
Literally lifelong. American Charles Osborne had hiccups for 68 years from 1922 to February 1990 and was entered in the Guinness World Records. I mean, that's such a bittersweet. You got a Guinness World Record, mate. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cheers. Make it stop. It's like, that is just an estimated 430 million hiccups. Someone did the math.
Honestly, that sounds like hell.
That is hell. Imagine enduring. I hate hiccups for 5 minutes.
It's a spasming diaphragm, right? That's what a hiccup does. It's where your diaphragm is not doing what it should be, bringing your lungs up and down, so it goes.
Probably not.
And that causes a hiccup. And that's uncomfortable to me. I don't know about you, but after a while, it gets your stomach's like,
your whole
god,
midriff.
Yeah.
Like, God.
To survive that for that many years.
There's a little fact here. During the first few decades, God damn the scale of this, he hiccuped up to 40 times a minute, slowing to 20 a minute in later years.
Is it some sort of psychological problem or something?
I think it's more of a physical. Like you say, the diaphragm is probably just destroyed in some way. It's just there's something wrong there.
They could give him medication that might reduce, that would relax the diaphragm, perhaps. Or
it's
hell.
40
I suppose
a
that would
minute.
affect your breathing.
40 per minute.
It's almost every second.
I would be red-eyed and just praying
like
for
120 a minute, I will say.
It to end.
Yeah, fuck that.
68 years is, if anything, just the perfect. Like, what endurance! What a hero to stick with it for that long and not kind of just really. I mean, I would have given up. I'll be honest. I would be on all the drugs they could possibly. I would have been a heroin addict. I would have just been anything that would have just got me out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because I think that it would have just been horrible. To hiccup 40 times a minute. Like I think I would find any kind of narc. I'd be just out of my head. I would just be like, I'm out. Just leave me on the streets. I'm done.
It's got to stop when they sleep, right?
Like this is it. I don't know if there's
waking themselves up.
Oh God, who was it? Who?
Yeah, well, I was thinking this. They must be ripped. Like their core as well must be like pretty worked out. Like doing like tiny.
What's your plan? What's your regime?
I just never stop hiccuping.
I hiccup all the time. That's pretty much it. It's like, well, that's not a solution. Pathetic advice. I'm not doing that. Give me some real advice.
Jesus Christ.
There's a woman who got hiccups for 8 years, which is also, I mean, anything past 10 minutes is too much in my eyes, personally.
Seriously, if I'm hiccuping for more than like 15 minutes, I'm pissed. Like,
I'm annoyed. I feel like I can't get on with my day. Yeah. I feel like I can't get on with my day.
God, it's so easy.
I can't, because no one can take you seriously either when you've got hiccups.
You're not going to a business meeting. Here are the graphs for the last quarter. Oh God. You just can't do it.
Imagine being a person, like a doctor that has to tell people their relatives have died and they've got fucking hiccups.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What? No.
I missed with the blade when we were in there and his heart's gone.
Yeah.
Or like, there's blood. Sorry.
Also on the flip side, the intolerable nature of listening to someone who has to do that as well. You're like, well, I don't listen to this. Close your mouth. Stop it. You're burping. Oh, no, stop, please.
In that scenario, no one.
No, it's awful.
No one around them, the person themselves. Fair play.
Anyone who's had hiccups for a lengthy period of time, I wholly sympathise with you. But this person was diagnosed with chronic hiccups in October 2008. They visited a gastric, ear, nose, and throat and lung specialist before a cure was finally found. She said she was kicked out of college where she was trained to be a nurse because she was disruptive to the class. God, imagine having it and then just being like punished everywhere you went because they were like, God, stop being rude. Come on. Packing this in the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say about the cure. Can you imagine it was just like, okay, we're going to fix this now. If you could just turn around and they just drop a cold spoon on their back.
Thank you.
Fixed it.
Oh my God. I'm not hiccuping in control. Oh no. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, you're going to take this glass and then just drink it backwards.
Yeah.
Just drink it backwards. The doctor's just there with like...
Tip over and drink it that way.
Just
wow.
Oh God.
It's not working.
Literally, this article is everything you mentioned, Smith. Here we go. Another time. So she was just trying not to hiccup at that time when she was kicked out of college. Another time during the eulogy at her friend's mother's funeral, she had a fit of hiccups, making the congregation laugh, which obviously is the worst
Surely
thing,
the
really.
family knew.
You tell someone if you between hiccups, or write it down.
Also, like,
I hiccup lots.
30 to 40 years in, you'd be like, yeah, we're pretty used to this by this point.
Yeah. Well, this person's 8. It was 8 years in. Well, eventually. Luckily, their friend didn't mind, and it made things lighthearted, which is okay. So that's kind of an uplifting part of it. Danielle has been dating Scott McCracken. Who's that? Why have they mentioned his name? I don't care. For 3 years, but previously she's had some bad luck. Guys would make fun of her, of course. She started, her diaphragm suddenly, she thinks it started because her diaphragm suddenly and involuntarily contracting because she had a combination of pain-killing medication she was on for arthritis and migraines.
Oh, okay.
So that's another thing to think about. If you're mixing various painkillers, think about it before you hiccup yourself into oblivion. She said, I took barbiturates and Lortabs, if I'm saying that correctly, or Lortabs, an opiate of acetaminophen and hydrocodone. I'm not a doctor. She said, I was addicted to them and would doctor hop and pharmacy hop to get them.
Damn.
She was doing this for years before she went cold turkey in 2008. Going cold turkey was tough. I felt so fluey, but I recovered and is now sober. But the long-term impact gave them chronic hiccups. So this seems like it could be a way to actually give yourself crazy hiccups if you were trying to achieve that. Maybe you're trying to break the record.
Yeah,
there is a Guinness World Record to break. Who's trying to break that record? Who's that going? Hang on,
I was going to touch that one.
Well, who's flicking through the book anyway, thinking I'm going to break these? What's this one? Hiccups.
I'm only 12. If I can live to 90, I've got this in the bag.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, what a journey that would be. My God. No one's breaking that record, surely. Generally use. Where was I? What's the cure? I'm trying to find the cure. God damn it.
Boo!
Not she was taking a combination.
She went
of
to a
those
spooky house in a theme park and she got scared. It prompted her to seek solutions. She started to try a muscle relaxant called tizanidine,
Okay.
Which did work apparently. So it really helped.
Wow.
It took about a month to work.
I think I actually said that as well. I was like, you could relax the muscles
for the diaphragm.
But also it would make it harder to breathe because your diaphragm helps you breathe as well, which I'm guessing is the problem.
Yeah.
You gotta get that. Take the edge off. You just got to get that nice floaty buzz, and then
No, I can't breathe.
Yeah,
a bit
now
less.
I can't hiccup. yeah. 2 is I can't hiccup. 3 is I can't breathe.
Yeah. Well, I'll point out this person was pretty jammy in the first place because they were getting they were saying after that period she was hiccuping just 6 or 7 times a day instead of an hour. But an hour. This guy was doing 40 a minute, was it?
Wow,
it's amateur numbers.
In his prime, Ross. In his prime. Come on.
In his prime, of course.
If you want
they lowered to 20, I know. I get it.
If you want... Come on, kid. If you want that 69-year hiccuping trophy, you got to up your hiccuping.
You got to get that number
per
up.
minute to 45, 50 at least.
Man. HPMs.
Okay, Dad.
Okay.
That's right, son. Yeah. You keep hicking.
That's good. You keep hooking just for another 20, 30 years, and you'll be way ahead of this sucker.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Dude, your core is ripped, by the way. Thanks, Dad. It was like a Teletubby.
Well, there you go. That was the cure for that person. So yeah, tizanidine. So if you are suffering, that might be an option. Don't self-medicate. Go see a doctor. But try that. They've said here that if they do get hiccups now, they panic furiously. I guess you would.
Well, they're going back.
What if it's coming back? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want that to come back. So there you go. That's some hiccup horror stories there for you. Leading on from the pig semen thing. I don't really know how they link. They don't. Not in the slightest.
Semen. It was
semen.
Longest things. Longest orgasm.
Yeah.
And then we went to that. So that was a natural progression of things.
It was a natural progression. There was. Here we go. This was another one that I saw, which isn't related to semen or cats or anything. This is COVID related.
Right.
And obviously, things are opening up again. There is positivity. Things are looking up. Right. Especially in the UK.
Don't worry about that. COVID.
I'm saying the UK. I think in the US as well. I think they're starting to open up things. But the BBC have kindly set some guidelines here for 5 ways to make hugging safer. So that's brilliant. That's good. Let's see what the number 1 is, so we can all be safe together.
Day on the BBC.
Slow day. I mean, really, hugs. This is what they're going to here. Okay, so you have to be selective. That's rule number 1. Be selective. Someone
can't
says
just go hugging anybody. People
don't go hugging willy nilly. It's not a race. Try to really be selective who you hug and where it's done. It says here, personally, I'm going to restrict my hugging to family members and not beyond. Says Professor Sally Jane Cutler.
I don't know who this is for.
I don't know either.
The kind of people that need fucking guidance about hugging are people like my fucking nan and people like that who've already hugged people. They've already been hugging people. They've been double vaccinated a couple of months ago or whatever, and now they feel safe, so they're already doing it.
You think the average person can figure out, like, based on the guidance given before about hugging and who to hug? And
I don't know. I don't know what we can. I don't think we should say rash things like "I think the average person would," because we've learnt now that the average person probably won't.
It's not what you think.
It's not what you think it is. It's not what you hope it is.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately the harsh realism of
maybe we should apply
stupidity.
The same logic here. I don't know, but for me, it's just like I just don't understand. Like it's either you're a person that has not hugged somebody because you're concerned about, risk or infection or whatever, and that's just something you're doing, and that's, your choice. And then you're a person who hasn't. I don't know how many fence sitters there are out there who are like, right, well, we're going to start hugging again, but who and what and how do we hug? Like, no one is having that
I just can't get my head around it.
Like...
Well, there's simple advice here, guys. It's very easy to follow.
Yeah.
Number 1 is turn your face away and keep hugs short. Don't over-egg your hugs.
There is a diagram.
There is a diagram. Number 2 here expresses don't hug face to face. So what does that mean? So what you want them to hug from like behind, or is it like do you have to make sure your face is fully turned to the other way?
It's a surprise hug.
So it's like one of those kind of like, I don't really know you stranger hugs where you kind of pat their back slightly. It's like,
Does anyone do those hugs where you go face to face and touch noses and stare directly into each other's eyes as you hug?
God, that's such a threatening way to hug someone. Really, really in their personal space straight away, regardless of the illness. That would be quite an abrasive way
like Inuit style, like nose to nose.
Yeah, that's are we doing the nose to nose hug? Because I've missed those. I really wanted to do that. I wanted to keep those up.
The Eskimo kiss. But I just think this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Number 3, wear a mask.
Just unbelievable that this is even necessary. And I just refuse to believe it is necessary to tell a person, hey, it's a disease that's passed through predominantly breathing. Don't fucking breathe on each other if you can help it.
Yeah.
Like, it's also a disease that's passed between people. Be not as close to people as possible, as little as often.
Yeah.
Like, I just... Like, and every time that you do that or do take that risk, then appreciate that it's a risk you're taking. Like, that risk is yours to take, sure, but it just seems so simple. Like that is it. Like it's an airborne virus, and the more you potentially spread it, the more it'll potentially spread. It's
just so serious. It's just 1, be selective. 2, make it quick. 3, avoid face-to-face contact. 4, do it outside. 5, get tested.
Right, okay.
Get tested. Wow. Like, so you just went somewhere, you hugged someone. God, I need to take a test immediately. So
that was worth it, though.
You're like, fuck, okay, I hugged that person.
God,
but did I
hugged 3 people.
Did I look the other way? I don't know if I looked the other way. Was I nose to nose?
I touched their nose.
Maybe I was. That's the way I hug people. That's what I do, obviously. I'm going to have to get tested.
It's just my thing.
It's just so dumb.
And by the way, the test you're getting, it's a lateral flow test. It's probably specified for a specific strain of coronavirus that is probably not the dominant one now because of how quickly it mutates. So it won't even pick it up anyway. And even if it is set, like the test is relevant to the strain of coronavirus you do have, it is on average only, and they think possibly less than this, 40% accurate. So those lateral flow tests are, if you want to try and be really safe, take 3 of them because like you need to. Like a lot of places that are actually trying to seriously use lateral flow tests and seriously make them effective, they're using multiple ones. This is what's mad. It's like, even if you follow the rules down to the T, of which there are many and of which they are unclear, you still aren't really that protected. You aren't. Like, it's maddening because you either follow the rules and try and be a good citizen, and the things that you do don't really make a huge difference, or you are one of those people who doesn't follow the rules and just doesn't give a fuck, and then you just cause discord and people get angry at you, and then the people following the rules feel angry, but ultimately the people who are following the rules that feel angry feel unjust in their anger because they know the rules that they're following are fucking pointless anyway. And it's madness. Like, it's so madness, and it's so annoying. It's just and then people vote for the same fucking people again, even when
he's really going for it.
Yeah,
we just didn't need to be.
I didn't get through all the points though, Ross. So I
you didn't
still don't know how to hug properly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you should read all the points.
It's
a 5-step program. It's a 5-step program. It's going to take some time.
My God.
As long as you do it outside, just make sure you do it outside. But on a final note, there is something separate here, which is quite funny and weird, almost. I don't really know how to take this, but I'm guessing you've all seen. I mean, we mentioned this briefly in private, but we all saw Ninja's tweet over the week, which I think he's deleted now. I'll read it out to you. I'll put a link here for you, Trot, for the streaming purposes. Oh, well, that's massive.
Thank you.
It's huge.
That's huge.
So the tweet reads as such: I'm in the middle of carrying a League of Legends game, about to close it out, and my braless wife brings me a sandwich, in brackets, not asked for, with chips as I get a double kill bot lane. So how's your day going? With a gif of a guy sipping his tea, a tiny little cup of tea.
With a pinky out.
Now, loads of people obviously
espresso, I think,
just thought it was just a weird thing to tweet. It's a very kind of like, is he bragging? Like, what is he just like excited about this? Or he's just like, hey guys, this is how my day's going. It's just like, why would you mention your braless wife as that's the part which kind of is the funny part for me, because it's just like, why braless? Why mention that part? It's fine. Yeah, sure, your wife brought you a sandwich. That's fantastic. That's great. Nice. What a treat. But braless, like what? What's he trying to get in people's heads there? What description?
So I actually have a non-Smith rant rage response to this, which I hope will enrich you and other people that might look at this.
Okay.
So there's a really great TV show, and the link won't immediately be obvious. It's a really great TV show on iPlayer. Okay. It was on FX as well, called Mrs. America. Mrs. America is about a lot of things, but it largely focuses on women's movement in America, feminism. It's also around something called the Equal Rights Act, which is something that came out, was trying to be ratified in the 60s. And there were two sort of, in the show it's presented as there are two major sides to the argument. You've got the feminist left movement, of women wanting to be as equal as possible to men in their society. And then on the other side, which is played by, and I've forgotten her name, come on, she's really good. She plays Galadriel.
Kate Blanchett?
Yes, Blanchett.
Aerosmith.
Galadriel, Trot, not Arwen.
Oh, Galadriel.
You're thinking of Liv Tyler.
Sorry, I was thinking about Arwen.
Anyway, Kate Blanchett. Yeah, you're right. She's really good in it, and she plays almost like the conservative women of America, the housewives of America kind of character, where she is trying to campaign against this movement because she says that, there's essentially she's trying to defend an identity. She's trying to defend a way of life and a culture that she feels that she wants to defend. And it's, about being the wife, being the housewife, raising the children, having a man provide for the house and all this sort of stuff. And it's a little bit about her journey of realizing, I think, a little way about she wants to maintain this vision, this idea of a home, but then she realizes that home interacts with her identity as a woman quite poorly. Anyway, really great show. It's got just really good beyond its
What's it called again? Just
to
get that name.
It's called Mrs. America.
Mrs. America. Okay.
And it's really worth watching because it's just got some really relevant and interesting issues and conversations. Really good to watch. Really great cast. Anyway. What I saw in that tweet from Ninja was a person completely oblivious because you're right, some people, like, I read that, there you go, that's what it is.
Nice. Okay.
I read that as well as you and was just like, Jesus Christ, this guy, like, it's just
I couldn't tell it was a joke,
oblivious to how it wasn't a joke. No. He's just a person who's in an environment where nobody's ever said that, like, thinking and being like that is maybe not particularly progressive. But, he's probably in a relationship where his wife or his partner, she responded with that with like oh, you're so sweet, you're so cute, like, I love being loved kind of thing. Yeah, she felt it as like, oh, I love being loved, response. And like in their world where they haven't thought about the fact of like how harmful like that stuff can be. Am I crashing?
No, you're fine.
Am I good?
No, you're fine now. You're fine now.
So like what I'm saying is, framed in their world, him tweeting that was just him being like, my life's great, I love it. You know, like I got this wife that does this thing, she's great, and she does these things, and she cares for me, and she's like, oh, you're so lovely, appreciating that I care for you. You know, like that's how they see it. Right. And so I think that's important to bear in mind. I don't know whether or not that's right, and I don't know whether or not we should have a say on that. I think the core problem is, and I think the reason that a lot of people felt a bit outraged and like, you know, like just like sort of like, for fuck, you can't be like this, is because that person's a role model and that person is on a pedestal to a lot of young people, and is put on that pedestal by a huge amount of people, both in the gaming industry, in the entertainment industry, and in our audience. And it's important probably to be more progressive and be more considerate and not reduce women to just something like that.
For anyone who,
but the problem is that he's a gamer. He's a guy. He's like, you know, that's his life. He's grown up probably, and I don't know what he's like, but I mean, you know, he's grown up and he's a gamer, and now he's on this pedestal. It's not like he went through some sort of finishing school to teach him.
We all know the tropes and the stuff in the gamer community about give me a sandwich and stuff, and there's kind of very misogynistic comments and stuff. And then him to mention braless wife, it's just such a weird like call to like, what? Like, you want all these people to think about my wife's tits whilst she's giving me a sandwich and I'm gaming. It's like there's so much out of touch there that it's just unreal. It's just so weird that he just thought,
considering he's like an online persona where his entire life has probably been presented online, and he's of that generation that has had the internet most of their life, you can't be oblivious to those tropes that he literally put in a sentence online. He must have been aware of the whole derogatory like sandwich making by the wife thing. Also, to mention the fact that she's braless is just an extra like
weird
doubling down on that kind of persona.
Do you think he's so comfortable with that idea?
I'm not trying to excuse this behavior.
I see what you mean.
I think people should be conscious of it when you're put into the public eye. You should be more aware of it. You know, that's a responsibility, I think, as a person in the public eye. You should. However, they simply aren't. Like, you know, these people get put in these places and rise to fame largely because of market forces. You know, Donald Trump was essentially elected on the same system, you know. Common decency and everyone, you know, the feelings and rules that we feel that everyone's starting to follow don't matter when it's just a numbers game. And Ninja is essentially the product of a numbers game of, you know, just his content appealed to the widest number of a certain demographic, and now he's put him up in that position. It doesn't mean that this guy is suddenly going to be the moral paragon. It doesn't mean that this guy is suddenly going to represent good values. It's simply the most common denominator. And so, like, I mean, it sucks, but I've always said this. You know, there are plenty of assholes in this industry. You know, there are plenty of them. And there are plenty of people in the acting industry that realize they can't treat women in certain ways as well, because they've never been called out on it. Well, or even just, I mean, the thing is, it's being called out on it, sure, but like, it should also not rest on the shoulders of people to call them out. It should also be, you know, people shouldn't know to do
this. That's why I brought it up. It's like, well, there's probably people in our audience who think, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying your braless wife's giving you a sandwich? Girls are supposed to give you sandwiches. Isn't that right? Like, do you know what I mean? They have that mentality and they say this horrible shit to women online all the time. And it's just like, it feels like he's just reinforced that immediately. And it's just like, that's like 10 years old. We knew that 10 years ago. Like, this shouldn't be said online, or what, you shouldn't treat people like that. And he did that the other day. And it just seems like, well, if he hasn't learned, he must be spouted all this stuff all the time. That's tragic for anyone who isn't in the public eye.
Well, look, we need to abandon this notion that people in the public eye and the people who are put up on pedestals and are successful are people to be comparing yourself against. Just don't do it. Like, you know, because I don't think unless we get to the point where we literally police what all of these rising stars say and put them through some form of education program or something. Like, this is always going to happen. This is going to keep happening. Like we need more guidance. This is the problem, it's a hard thing to answer. But
Craig raised a good point. It's like, does Ninja even care? Ultimately, all he's doing is he's making a controversial tweet which gets a ton of media attention. Is he of that mind where it's like, any sort of press is good press to me because I'm not getting the Twitch views I used to get, kind of thing? It's like, anything to keep me relevant, I'll just say something controversial, doesn't matter. Is that the angle? In which case, yes, even more so, don't engage with it. Make his responses mean nothing. Ultimately, don't say anything back. That's the best thing you can do, is just not respond to it.
I think he deleted it, so I'm guessing he obviously was affected by it in some way.
what everybody has to realize is that there are people that do think like this, and it sucks that they do think like this and do act like this. But ultimately, if you want it to not be a problem in the future, we've got to work out ways of convincing the people that don't see that isn't normal, that don't see that isn't good. How do you start changing those people? Because you're right, Ross. Like, plenty of people would look at that and gone, they did. They were like, "Lol, nice one, man." And well, it's not like that they're just. And this is why that Mrs. America is a good show to watch, because there's also just as many women in situations like that where they can't see the wood for the trees. They've grown up in an atmosphere where that's fine, and like they feel it's fine, and they perpetuate it because they necessarily don't have the perspective and opportunities to see that isn't the way things should be. Yeah. So that there's so much. So
I saw humans had to justify it. I won't mention names because it calls them out, but there was somebody we know that didn't seem to get that was a bad thing to say either. And I kind of thought that was quite so he doesn't even realize why that's being like kind of laughed at or like, and because that's interesting.
Again,
I was just like, really?
Everyone to be. You can't expect everyone to be on the same page. In that respect.
Sure. Well, just respectful, I guess. Not
people
smart.
Are not saying that person is stupid in general, but you realize sometimes huge holes in people's like understanding and reasoning skills. Like they just haven't even like attempted to consider that. And hopefully they will in the future. But
it's a controversial statement to take, but ultimately the things that get changed, or the people that want that change, are at the peak of their emotional investment of it. And oftentimes when you're trying to approach the opposite side and try to convince them, it's often done in the way that is the least effective. So it's the people that are already fucking angry, pissed off.
Real like wound up.
Trying to tell someone else who's already like doubled down on their mentality of something and saying like, you're fucking wrong, change it, you're disgusting. Yeah. Of course they're going to defend themselves because they've already like invested in like the gambler's fallacy of like, well, I'm doubling down on this, so I don't want to be the losing case here. So I think there's a different tact to approaching this sort of thing. You can't just like, get educated, do better, because that falls on deaf ears, unfortunately. I wish it was that simple, but it's clearly not. It's just people are more nuanced than that.
In the realm of gaming and gamers and the way they kind of talk online, it's just like that's such a step back in terms of like when you think about how much horrible things people say to other people on streams, in games, like Call of Duty is one of the worst. Like that is just such a reinforcement of it that it's just tragic to see, really. Yeah.
For all of Twitch's shortcomings, he's on that fucking platform which is trying to advocate equality, and at least that's their PR messaging, right? Where it's all like female gamers represent and all that kind of thing. He ultimately is dismissing all of that, doesn't care about it, and or is oblivious that he is part of the problem. So
I think honestly it must a lot of the time it is the last bit where like they'll go to like feminist things, or they'll go to some. I mean we've all done it, in the past. We've all like done charity streams or done other stuff and like or donated to certain things where like we think we're doing a good thing, but we really don't understand how it works or like what that reality looks like. So like I guess sometimes that's it. Like they just they'll be like go girls or go gamers or go whatever, but the reality is their idea of what that is totally different to what might be the objectives of whatever campaign.
Hopefully the positive takeaway from it is that people are discussing it and kind of more like being a bit more like, this is language online and this is like why you probably shouldn't say certain things, or maybe think about what you say before you post it to a large audience, stuff like that. I don't know. But I mean, we're discussing in a way that hopefully people understand that that kind of language is very bizarre to hear from someone who represents quite a large gaming audience.
But I think if people are listening and you don't really know, perhaps genuinely don't know why we might find it just not a cool thing, not an okay thing to say. Because it's not like
he's not said like racist stuff, he's not said anything horrific, but it is quite misogynistic, and it's just like if other people use that language for somebody else, that's when it's like a massive issue. Sure, his wife might not mind.
It's a public objectification of the person. Whatever they do in their private time and however they treat each other, with that consent and understanding what each other is saying to each other and who likes what, doesn't matter. What you're doing is then taking that to a public setting with our preconceived notions of how to perceive what you're saying. So
to reduce that, we don't feel it is okay to perpetuate stereotypes and a place